a look at your kidneys and how they impact your health. And an expert discusses chronic kidney disease and how to protect yourself. And Ivorian psychologist Noor Bakayoko shares some insights on bullying and what can be done.
It's important to avoid major events or major health crises.
How do you know if your cough is due to a serious condition? We'll have some answers. Stay well
and strive to make every day a healthy day.
In an unprecedented move, the Cabinet Secretary for Public Service, Justin Muturi, has called on government, where he serves, to address the problem of abductions, claiming he was a victim after his own son was abducted. We have details lined up for you. And indeed, about 3 days after the release of the KCSE results, question is, what is next? That will be our conversation tonight. And the topic is coping with exam results, the expectations, the outcome, and the future. And we'll be engaging Jane Gatia, a counseling psychologist. That is a little bit later in this program. But for now, welcome to Sunday Express. Here are tonight's highlights.
We are finalizing the contract so that we can roll out the modernization of Nairobi River, tuweke barabara ya sawasawa, tupanue ile mto, tuhakikisha kwamba kuna mahali pa kuishi, kuna walkways ya wananchi. We will make something you have never seen in Nairobi City.
Sprucing up the capital, the government plans to commit 4 billion shillings in the next financial year to overhaul Nairobi's road infrastructure.
The security forces should arrest and bring to book all those that are involved in the abductions without fail, and all the young people being held in illegal captivity should immediately be freed.
We swore to protect. Public Service CS Justin Muturi condemns abductions, even as his interior counterpart Kipchumba Murkomen maintains there is no policy for forced disappearance.
On behalf of the government of Kenya, I want to assure Kenyans that hosting of Chan is in good progress in terms of the infrastructure preparation, and therefore I would like to urge all Kenyans. We'll be urging them as we near the tournaments themselves, but we want to urge them now to be inspired, from the 1st of February to turn up in large numbers.
And we are ready for Chan. It is all systems go as preparations enter the penultimate stage ahead of a continental showcase. My name is John Jacob Curia. Welcome to the broadcaster. Sign language interpreter tonight is Lensa Odingo. Now, President William Ruto has committed 4 billion shillings in the upcoming financial year to overhaul Nairobi's road infrastructure as part of efforts to ease traffic congestion and improve mobility within the capital. Speaking in Dagoretti North, President Ruto said the funds will be used to construct new feeder roads. And I'll take that again. It will be used to construct new feeder roads and rehabilitate old ones to enhance the city's overall transport network.
Speaking during a Sunday church service at the United Pentecostal Church of Kenya in Dagoretti North, Ruto assured Nairobi residents that the stalled road projects initiated by the now defunct Nairobi Metropolitan Services would be completed.
Kabla ya mwisho wa mwezi huu, we are finalizing the contract so that we can roll out the modernization of Nairobi River, tuweke barabara ya sawasawa, tupanue ile mto, tuhakikisha kwamba kuna mahali pa kuishi, kuna walkways ya wananchi. We will make something you have never seen in Nairobi City.
In addition to infrastructure upgrades, Ruto also focused on environmental concerns, specifically the Nairobi River, which has been plagued by pollution. He pledged to clean and restore the river to its original condition within 2 years.
Nairobi River hapa, watu hawajui katikati ya mji wa Nairobi iko sewage. Hiyo river imekuwa sludge. Inapitia kwenye estates, inapitia katikati ya mji.
On education, the president unveiled plans to allocate 1 billion shillings in the next financial year to build more classrooms across Nairobi County. This will complement a similar amount earmarked for 5,000 classrooms this year.
Watoto wengi Nairobi County bado hawana nafasi ya kusoma vizuri. And that is why niliweka affirmative action.
After the church service, the president visited Nairobi School, where he inspected the ongoing construction of a science complex, 2 dormitories and 8 classrooms. Ruto reiterated his commitment to overseeing the largest education reform in Kenya's history. He highlighted that to date, 76,000 teachers have been hired, with plans to recruit an additional 40,000 teachers by 2027. Jacqueline Masharia for Sunday Express.
And to some story here that could cause shock in the political scene, the Public Service Cabinet Secretary Justin Muturi has condemned the abduction of a section of social media activists who are critics of the government. Although the government denies involvement in the kidnappings, Muturi faulted security agencies for failing to stop them. The former Attorney General narrated the tribulations his family was subjected to after the abduction of his son in June 2024, saying many are living in fear in their own country.
As Kenyans raise concerns over a wave of disappearances of a section of youth-turned-social media activists, Justin Muturi on Sunday became the first cabinet secretary to call for accountability on abductions of the young Kenyans.
For the security forces should arrest and bring to book all those that are involved in the abductions without fail, and all the young people being held in illegal captivity should immediately be freed.
The Public Service Cabinet Secretary recounted his son's kidnapping during the Gen Z-led anti-tax protest in June last year.
I have personally served as my son was abducted and disappeared, and I was not sure whether he was alive or dead, making us anxious and leaving me and my wife and the rest of the family in turmoil. It must be remembered that at that time, I was the serving Attorney General of the Republic of Kenya, and as is well known, a member of the National Security Council, as comprised under Article 240 of the Constitution.
Muturi said although security organs have denied carrying out the vice, they have failed on their constitutional mandate to secure citizens. At a funeral in Embu County a week ago, the former Attorney General called out the government for claiming it does not know the whereabouts of the missing Kenyans.
I stated categorically that it was not possible for the government to say that it did not know anything about the abductions, because that amounts to shunning its responsibility on accountability.
At the same time, Muturi, who served as the Speaker of the National Assembly before the 2022 general election, denied any political alliance with former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. His sentiments come as the whereabouts of 4 Kenyans dubbed Mlolongo 4, namely Steve Mbisi, Justice Musimi, Martin Mwau, and Kalani Mwema, remain unknown. 5 others, namely Gideon Kibet, Billy Mwangi, Peter Muteti, Bernard Kavuli, and Ronnie Kiplangat, were released by their known abductors at various locations last Monday, January 6th.
The youth are part of the Kenyan society, so we cannot just segregate them. They are part of Kenya. If they have issues they want to raise with the government, let them raise them. And let us allow them to raise them. That is all what democracy is all about.
The Inspector General of Police Douglas Kanja and Directorate of Criminal Investigations Director Mohamed Amin have been ordered to appear before the Milimani High Court on January 27th to explain the mysterious abductions. Giverson Minor, Sunday Express.
And I want to quickly read you a quick response here by the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, that is DCI, regarding the speech made today by the Honorable Justin Bidan Muturi, the Cabinet Secretary for Public Service, and says we wish to reassure the public that most of the abduction cases that were reported to the police have been successfully investigated and are now pending before court, and investigations into the current cases will be no exception. The alleged case of abduction involving CS Justin Muturi's son is active before DCI Kilimani. Considering that only the son volunteered to record a statement, we wish to invite CS Muturi and any other person with information on the incident to record statements with DCI Kilimani. And that is regarding that matter cited there by the Honorable Justin Bidan Muturi, the former Attorney General, now the Public Service Cabinet Secretary. There is neither a government nor National Police Service policy for abductions. That is Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen. The Cabinet Secretary has, however, cautioned Kenyans against the misuse of social media and emerging technology to threaten those in authority, saying the law will be exercised to the hilt. Murkomen has, in the meantime, defended police against accusations they have failed in their duty to Kenyans.
The government is tonight defending itself against allegations that it is abetting the abduction of Kenyans. At the center of the storm is the National Police Service, which has been accused of indifference and has turned a blind eye and allowed an illegal group to reign terror on the perceived critics of the government agenda.
I want to assure you, and I know, that even as the debate is raging on public, on social media, and anywhere, there is no government policy. Neither is there a police service policy, neither by the command of the police nor the ministry itself, for abductions in the Republic.
Internal Security Principal Secretary Dr. Raymond Omolo urged the youth to pick positive examples and use them to build a desirable future.
There's a big challenge. Bishop talked about our young ones taking after what we do. And I think, Bishop, without hesitation, we are telling our young ones what is wrong, and it is important that they listen when we say what they're doing or some of the things they're doing is not correct.
The National Police Service, led by the Inspector General Douglas Kanja, has repeatedly denied claims of involvement in the abduction of Kenyans, but promised to double down on those responsible. Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen said the government is committed to improving the welfare of the National Police Service and would work to ensure the police are well equipped to deal with the emerging security challenges. Murkomen was speaking during a church service at the Administration Police Training College in Embakasi, Nairobi County. Tilio Marco for Sunday Express.
Former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has called on the international community to exert pressure on President William Ruto to reconstitute the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC. Gachagua alleges delay in the recruitment of new IEBC commissioners as a scheme to deny Kenyans their democratic right to elect new leaders in 2027.
Former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua attended church service at AIPCA in Dandora, Nairobi County, where he sought intervention of world leaders over the formation of Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission.
The absence of IEBC is a pointer of a scheme ya ile maneno ambayo inapangwa. And we want to appeal to the international community to put pressure on President William Ruto and the Kenya government so that IEBC is constituted as of yesterday. We want to ask the newly elected president of America, Donald Trump, atusaidie.
Tunawaelewa na tunajua ile kitu wanajaribu kufanya. Number one, wamekataa kuweka IEBC. Ndio wajaribu kuona kama watazuia elections kufanyika 2027. Hiyo tunawamulika sana. Sasa hivi tunaongea, hakuna kijana hata mmoja amesajiliwa katika orodha ya kupiga kura kwa miaka 2 ambayo imepita. Hii wiki inakuja tunachangamkia hiyo maneno na hata hiyo tunapeleka kotini.
Rigathi also faulted a section of politicians allied to the president for using political platforms to insult critics of the government.
Huyu mheshimiwa umetoa hapa Garissa ametukana wamama. Ile matusi ya wamama inafanya sisi tulie machozi. There is something you can never say about our women. Na mimi nikiangalia rais hapo nimeona anacheka. Wale wanatukana kila mtu. So much as you are telling us that we have not brought our children up well, before you remove the speck in our eye, remove the log in yours.
Na nataka kuambia mahali tuko sasa hivi ni lazima tujipange. Kujipanga, ndugu yetu Rigathi Gachagua tumemwambia, juzi mumeona tukiwa Mnyoro na wabunge wale wa mlengo wake, na tunamwambia sikiza kila mtu na usiende ukatangaza bila kusikiza kila mtu.
The leadership vacuum at IEBC was occasioned by the resignation of 4 commissioners, namely Juliana Cherera, Francis Wandera, Irene Masit and Justus Nyang'aya, who disputed the 2022 presidential election results, and the retirement of chairperson Wafula Chebukati and 2 other commissioners, Boya Molu and Professor Abdi Guliye. Meanwhile, a section of the clergy in Kakamega County is urging the government to involve religious institutions in mobilizing Kenyans to embrace Taifa Care. Africa Divine Church Bishop John Chabuga noted Social Health Authority registration is still low.
Tuwe na ushirika mzuri na serikali, tuombee hii serikali. Serikali ya Kenya ikianguka hata wewe umeanguka. Serikali ya Kakamega County ikianguka hata wewe umeanguka. Sababu ulitumia bidii kuisimamisha imara. Kuna wakati wa uchaguzi itakuja na wakati huo sisi tunajua ndio kila kazi itaendelea.
Sentiments echoed by Kakamega County Governor Fernandes Barasa.
Viongozi ambao wamekaa hapa, wengine wanakatwa shilingi 40,000, wengine wanakatwa shilingi 30,000 kila mwezi. And the only way hizo pesa zitawasaidia ni mjisajili kwa Taifa Care.
The Ministry of Health says about 17 million Kenyans have so far registered for the medical scheme. Gishuke Washira, Sunday Express.
Time for us to take our first breather right here on Sunday Express, but just a reminder, with the release of KCSE results, we'll be talking about the expectations, what the outcome really was, and what the future holds, particularly for the candidates who set this exam, and most importantly, we're talking about the psychological bit of it, and we're talking to Jane Gatia, counseling psychologist. That conversation will be coming a little bit later, but for now, we take a breather. We'll be back with more.
Star 570 hash. Option 1 kuna PS5 na ni full package na inakuja na JBL Party Box. Hiyo boom experience pia iko.
Thank you for joining us on Healthy Living. Stay connected to Voice of America at voanews.com. A look at your kidneys and how they impact your health. And an expert discusses chronic kidney disease and how to protect yourself. And Ivorian psychologist Noor Bakayoko shares some insights on bullying and what can be done.
It's important to avoid major events or major health crises.
How do you know if your cough is due to a serious condition? We'll have some answers. Stay well
and strive to make every day a healthy day.
Welcome back. You're watching the Sunday Express. Police officers in Kilifi County have apprehended a driver working with the devolved unit's health department and recovered stolen medical supplies valued at 100,000 shillings. Details in our county news roundup.
The arrest of the driver followed a tip-off from members of the public about the illegal sale of government-procured drugs at a private pharmacy. The county's executive committee member of health, Peter Morogo, put on notice individuals frustrating efforts to equip hospitals with the necessary supplies.
Hii tunataka kuambia wananchi kwamba ni onyo hasa kwa staff ambao wanahusika na jambo hili, na pia tungependa kuita mwito kwa wananchi pia wawe vigilant wanapoona kitu kama hicho, wanatufahamisha. Hivi sasa tunavyosema, huyu sasa si mfanyakazi wetu tena, yuko chini ya vyombo vya usalama.
A 55-year-old fisherman drowned at Kananga Beach in Homa Bay town after falling from his boat during a fishing expedition on Lake Victoria. The man, identified as William Juma, was reportedly returning from Nduru Beach in Mbita sub-county after a late-night fishing expedition.
Tunaomba wavuvi wenzangu, tafadhalini, kama tunaenda baharini, tuache kwenda baharini usiku. Pili, tuache kwenda baharini mtu mmoja mmoja. Saa zingine maafa kama haya yanaweza yakatokezea. Kama mko watu wawili, mmoja atamsaidia mwenzake.
In Kisii County, laboratory technologists who downed tools since December last year have called off the strike after signing a return to work formula with the county government.
As government, whether it is a CBA, whether it is no CBA, we shall continue recognizing and rewarding our employees because it is their right to get these promotions.
Martini Maslin for Sunday Express.
Now let's focus on what will be shaping our conversation tonight. The 2024 Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education KCSE results have been met with celebrations and heartfelt gratitude as some top performers across the country marked their academic success despite facing significant challenges. Among the standout students is Beatrice Wagashi from Dururumo High School, whose achievement has inspired many, scoring an impressive 82 points. Wangeshi, the top-performing female student from this school, has shown that determination can triumph over adversity.
Living in a dilapidated house with her mother, Esther Wanjiku, and 8 siblings, Wangeshi faces constant security threats. Yet, despite these challenges, she remained focused and achieved a remarkable A grade of 82 points.
Sikutarajia, ni kama kiloto. Hata tulipiga juu sana saa ile tulisikia hivyo. Nikafikiri ni mtoto wa Wajiko ama ni wa nani. Tukaruka kuruka na marafiki yangu.
Wangeshi continues to pursue her dream of studying medicine at Harvard University and is now calling on well-wishers to help her turn that dream into a reality.
I hope so. I will manage to go to that school and pursue my dream. I've really wanted to go, but the little challenge that I have is when I think of the school fees that is required for you to do medicine. It gives me stress because, as you can see, the situation here. But I know I will manage it through well-wishers.
Meanwhile, 21 out of 26 orphaned students from Mango Trees Girls School in Karachuonyo constituency, Homa Bay County, also marked a milestone, securing direct entry into universities. This milestone marked the success of the school's first ever KCSE cohort, with students attributing their success to the transformative support they received at the institution.
Students who know why they are in school, they really understand their background, and therefore they are pushing so hard to change the home. They're pushing so hard to change the environment and the situation at home.
And students from 25 day schools in Quisero constituency, Kakamega County, will now benefit from a subsidized education program requiring parents to pay only 1,000 Kenya shillings for their children's education per term.
Kuanzia leo hakuna mtoto wa Quisero day scholar ambaye atafukuzwa shule.
The initiative, spearheaded by Quisero MP Christopher Aseka, aims to ease the financial burden on parents while ensuring access to education for all learners in the constituency.
They say that with faith over mustard seed, you can move mountains, and that a dream doesn't become reality through magic. It takes sweat, determination, and hard work. Well, that's the story of one Simon Kioko, an 18-year-old student who financially labored to beat the odds and post impressive results in the recently released Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education KCSE results.
At the Kathekakai Secondary School in Machakos County, we joined tens of students, teachers and parents to celebrate students who performed well in the 2024 KCSE examination. Here we meet Simon Kioko, who scored a mean grade of B. Simon, who aspires to be a civil engineer, recalls how he had to start a rabbit business to pay his school fees.
Rabbits back at home, which I used to bring to the principal, and then I'd pay for my school fees. Let's say like 1.5 kilograms costs 1,000, and let's say 2 kilograms up to 2.5. You can get with 1,500.
His mother, Jacinta Manthi, says their poverty life forced one of Simon's siblings to drop out of school so that Simon could finish his studies.
Chenye alikuwa anapata ni kutoka kwa hizo ni rabbits. Alikuwa anagawanya. Pesa zingine alikuwa analeta kama school fees. Juu tuko na shida, alikuwa tusaidia kama kutununulia chakula.
But Simon is not the only student who encountered hurdles in school. Faith Mbithe from the same school faced immense challenges while sitting for KCSE exams. Despite battling a heart condition that requires a surgery in India, Faith defied the odds and achieved a C-.
Nikiwa shule, na zingine nawezaona nashinda peke yangu, nikiogopa wanafunzi. Wasikia kama napumua sana. Saa zingine hadi mwalimu akiwa class na nyamaza, hadi akiniuliza kitu hata kama najua.
Naomba mnisaidie kwa sababu ako na shida na mimi sina pesa, ni kibarua. Ninafanyanga kibarua tu.
Brian Mutinda and Augustine Kioko, who also scored a B, said their high school journey was not a smooth one either.
I faced some challenges like school fees, walking long distances to come to school. If there is any well-wisher who wants me to pursue my career, he can do so.
The school principal, Margaret Owaka, disclosed that the poverty level is high in the area, calling on the government to release capitation in time.
Government could make sure that even that capitation that comes, it comes in good time, so that the principals can find time, even buy food, an extra coin here and there, buy students some food so that when they are eating lunch break, they get full.
Kasi Chanamasha, Sunday Express.
Christmas ni sahi, ishafika na ni kubwa kubwa. Kweli? Hii Christine ni bomba na Blue Santa kupitia star 570 hash option 1. Rudia. Star 570 hash option 1. Iko PlayStation 5 na 55 inch TV na iko 500,000 Kenyan shillings.
Na mbuzi moja?
Na mbuzi. 1 million Kenyan shillings na Samsung S24 Ultra. Na kuzifanya iko 2 million Kenyan shillings na iPhone 16 Pro Max. Na muzibili Blue Santa amekuja na zawadi kibao. Nani kubwa hapa kuna ndogo ndogo, hapa Christmas ni bomba.
On KBC Channel 1, we are a TV station like no other. Get a taste of the best in entertainment.
Yes, indeed.
Feel the passion.
Will you promise me?
I swear that you will never lose me. I can't get married to you.
I'm sure you knew about it. That's why you're making fun of me.
Experience the drama.
Get out.
Who is the man in this one? And the laughter.
Hii wigi umevatishwa zile wakati tulikuwa tunaapishwa tukapewa mheshimiwa.
Move to the beat.
We are live from Broadcasting House.
And get informed on the latest happenings. KBC Channel 1.
Wow. Wow. Yeah!
We are the full package.
Oh, yes.
And Kenya's watching.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Welcome back. You're still watching Sunday Express. Like I had told you, we'll be talking about coping with exam results, the expectations, the outcome, and the future. Jen Gatia is a counseling psychologist who joins us on set to handle this matter. Thank you very much, Jen, for joining us tonight.
Thank you for inviting me.
You know, let's begin with a conversation around managing the emotions of expectations not met. Before we talk about those who achieved what they wanted. But there are those who set for this exam with expectations in mind and yet they did not achieve them. Question is, how do they manage feelings at this point?
That's a very good question. But even before I respond, allow me to congratulate every candidate who did exams, and the national exams for that matter. And some met the pass mark, others were below the pass mark, and so on and so forth. Now, that causes a lot of anxiety. And probably one thing you need to remember is that exams anxiety starts even before the exam comes, long before. And that is very important to remember. And then once the candidate is done, they are waiting for results. That's now a different level of anxiety. So it is very important that we are talking about it because it needs to be managed. The candidate, the parent, the guardian, and the friends of the child, everyone is waiting. And actually, everybody is very, very anxious. But it is important that when results come, especially for those who didn't meet the pass mark, they need to be congratulated. That should be the first thing. Well done. At least you did the exams. At least you went through the school system, leave alone even the exams. But we find it difficult to do so. Yet that is exactly what we should be able to do, so that the child does not feel, you know, it actually affects the child's self-esteem. And that is probably the worst, knowing that self-esteem is a driving agent of every person, including that child who did the examinations. So they need to be congratulated for having finished school in the first place. Exams is a different level. And by the way, the reason why I'm insisting that the child needs to be congratulated is because the exam alone, the exam results, do not define this child. And that is very important to remember by every parent. Maybe the parent is looking at the investment they have made, the money they have put in this child. But that notwithstanding, we need to appreciate the child. And the child needs to be encouraged even to look forward to another option. By the way, because the exam should not be, the results should not be a dead end.
And we'll talk about what lies ahead, probably if they did meet their expectations. But I'm just wondering, for that child who sat through the 4 years in secondary school, hoping to perform well in the context of how Kenyans define, passing.
Yeah.
Is a congratulations enough to deal with the disappointment in their hearts that they didn't achieve what they wanted to achieve?
That may not be the end, but it is just a beginning. The first impact, the first impression is that the child failed. We don't have failures. We have a child who probably didn't meet the pass mark, as it was said. But if that bar was dropped a little, that child is still very useful. So the child needs to be allowed also at the same time to talk about what they feel. Definitely anxiety has to be let out. It's like there is some air in there. It needs to get an outlet. And talking, which we call talk therapy in counseling psychology, is very important because the child will be able to talk. They'll be able to express themselves. They'll even be able to talk about their disappointment. And the greatest fear of this child is even what that will cause to the parents. What will it cause the parent fear? Who has put so much money.
In fact, I want us to talk about that because much of it, sometimes we focus on the student. And it's also good because they're the people who are involved directly. But there's also a parent who has invested money all throughout, was expecting a different result, probably based on how the child was performing over these 4 years. But then again, the grade is not per expectation. Question is, how does that parent now move on to the stage of, I need to congratulate my son or daughter so that they can take up another option other than what I had encompassed in my mind.
Oh, yes. And the reason why we are talking about it, thank God for this national TV, because a lot of people are going to benefit from this brief conversation. Yes, the parent need to bring themselves to a level. I am the one who invested. For instance, if I had a child who did that exam, I invested. And this is not the first time I have invested and I didn't get results. I mean, a parent has seen their days, and they know that, it can be a 50-50. We may reap, we may not. Even from very natural, things that we do. We plant, we may reap, we may not reap that year. So it should be seen the same way. That this child, and by the way, because it's only a kind of bar that was placed somewhere, that the child, we expect they have a pass mark when they raise these kind of marks for themselves. But if they don't, then it means there must be another bar for that child. So for the parent needs to bring themselves to that level. Slow down. I would tell my parents, we have children, slow down. Just don't say anything. And that not saying something at around that time, except telling the child, thank you, at least you finished school, you did the exam, you got some marks. Not that they didn't get anything. And even if they didn't, still they remain an important child. And now we are talking about even the integrity of that child. Because exam results, the way we look at them is probably what causes the bigger problem. Because we think this is the final blow. This is what defines me, which is not a good perspective of looking at things. So parents, slow down. Encourage your child. Congratulate them for what they have achieved so far. They have actually achieved other things other than academic.
And probably even done better than you did.
Oh, yes. By the way.
Let's talk, and I'm still focused on the emotional well-being of this candidate who did not get the results they were expecting. And the silver bullet lies in staying motivated.
Yeah.
But that's also the quagmire of how do I stay motivated despite the results that came from this examination.
We talk about encouragement. Everyone who feel like they have failed, and that's what the child is feeling, needs to be encouraged. And the first person who needs to encourage the child not to give up, but to look forward to something else. There must be another option. That's not a dead end in itself. So the first person to encourage is a parent. Use kind words. Because sometimes a parent may get worked up, for instance, if I use myself as an example. Oh, I've put so much money. I took you to such an expensive school. You know, I've been visiting. All that has gone to waste. I thought you'd join this or the other, you know, kind of institution. And that in itself will only sink a sinking boat. It will sink further. And that is not good for the child. So what I'm appealing for is for the guardian of the child, for the parent of the child, to be able to compose themselves. Because at the end of the day, it is still the parent who will take the next step to guide this child, assuming that this child is only getting to a certain level. And after that level, there must be another level they will go. Who will guide them? The same parent. Even those joining university, it's the same parent, it's the same guardian. So we ask for composure. And we ask the parent not to be so cruel. Use words that encourage, words that build character, words that you build capacity. Right. And just by telling a child, for instance, JJ, yes, I know you didn't get the pass mark. You were aiming for an A or a B or whatever grade. You didn't get it. But I trust you. I believe in you. And I know you are going places. Those are very simple words. But they build that child. They build that, you know, person. And they feel they can also believe in themselves. A lot of things that people do, and they cave in, and they kind of put themselves in a cage, lock the door of the cage, and they can't get out. It's because of what people told them. What people tell us is very important, whatever the circumstances. So I think it is still possible for a child to fail exams, manage that anxiety, because anxiety levels go high. And by the way, anxiety comes with the anger, comes with the heart, comes with disappointment and self-blame and guilt. There is so much around that anxiety. And if that is not managed well, that child could give up altogether. They could give up in life. Actually, some children have even attempted to terminate their own life because it's like, I'm done. My world has collapsed. And that is not fair. They need to live on. They need to be encouraged to, you know. After all, someone can repeat an exam. I mean, it's not a matter of life and death. JJ, we have to live on, whatever the case. And we want our children to go places.
I want us to move this conversation forward, because much of what we've spoken about students who did not perform to their expectations. But there are those who even performed to the expectation or even superseded that. But with the society and the release of exams comes the pressure to succeed. How do you manage this pressure on your shoulders, that based on this impressive results or based on whatever you got, you must become, you know, as successful as somebody else? You must become successful as your brother-in-law or your brother. How do you manage that pressure of succeeding?
Or even another child in the neighborhood.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm glad you have brought it up, JJ. That is very important. Whether we meet the pass mark or whether we go below the pass mark, whichever way, anxiety will be there. There will be some kind of anxiety. What next? And what if I go to the next level? Let's take, for example, university. I don't get the degree that I want to do. I'm not admitted for it. Or I don't even complete university, because that's another level of academic, you know, kind of achievement, or the child is attempting to get there. They have never been there. Probably the parent knows something. And that's why I insist. So there'll be anxiety. But that child still need to be encouraged. We shall be with you up to the next level. Even the next level, you are going to make it. So whether they made it, let them be encouraged, you'll make it. And it doesn't have to go the same direction. We don't all have to follow the same road. Some of us may follow a longer route than others, but we shall get there. Yes, we'll make it in life and we shall excel.
Absolutely.
So that word encouragement, I would like parents to use it with another score. Or just highlight it. It is a very important word. Whichever way, everyone needs their hand held.
Jane, tell us, for those ones that, okay, they had expectations really, because everybody goes to an exam with an expectation. Some already probably left by the time they were leaving the exam room, they knew they had failed the exam. But the question is, with this result, particularly for those who didn't perform or achieve the C+ mark, because I understand that's the entry point for university, is it the end of the road?
Definitely no. This life has so many options. And it is important for us to sober up. I'm using the word sober up in quotes, yeah? Just to settle first, let the dust settle. You know, when the results just come out. In about 3 months from now, JJ, we shall not be talking about those results. There must be something else we shall be talking about.
Yes.
Something will hit the headlines, just like this, you know, media.
Yes.
There will be news, and we cannot see it on the same spot. So we need to be able to think there is another option. There is another road that we can pass. For instance, even going to university, one may get a direct ticket depending on their pass mark. And that is also important to the candidates and to the parents to understand. But one can also follow another road, go to another level, which will still lead them to the university. What matters is, I went where I wanted to go. I was determined and I achieved what I wanted. The duration it takes should not worry anyone. What should concern us? What do I want? What is my career path? Which is now another level. So it is important for us never to give ourselves a verdict. Whatever we do, particularly in academics, it cannot be the only way. And it is important for our society, particularly in Kenya, not to see like that A, that B is what defines the person. Definitely no. We can still succeed, we can still get where we wanted to go, but let's find out which is the other route. It could be very thick, a thick forest, but somehow there'll be a way and it will take us there. Yeah.
Do you feel, and thank God probably we are done with the 844 system, although the ones in Form 2 must do their KCSE, I think about 3 years from now. But do you feel like this desire to succeed, this cutthroat competition around examinations, like they place an unfair burden on the person doing the exam?
Oh, yes. Yeah. We don't need education that is exam-centered. The kind of education that helps. Because education is not just about exams. It is also to help us to do what we are doing right now. I mean, so it is not just about passing and getting to that career. We all cannot go to the same career. So any reasonable education system, and I think Kenya, we are getting there. We just need maybe to refine a few things here and there. It is one that is person-centered. What can this person do best? Yes, they didn't get straight on to university, but is there something they can do to build capacity, first for themselves and then for the society? What contribution can they make? And I think that's where now the government of Kenya, I think it's well done. The TVET institutions, for instance, helping that person who was filtered and never met hit the mark, can still go through that system. And by the way, can one day even get to as many degrees that they want and hit even other deadlines that were never there. So it is good for us to keep up and emphasize on person-centered kind of education. That's what will move us forward.
I want to ask this, and of course this doesn't seem to, it is not supposed to discourage anybody who is pursuing an academic path.
Yeah.
But is academic excellence all there is to life?
Of course no. Oh, sorry, to even say of course no. I think it's just an impact. Yes. It's just a response on impact. Yes. academic excellence is good.
It is
education helps us even to know how to fix that dinner in a better way.
Yes.
But it shouldn't be used to define the person in totality. It cannot be, because a person has much more to offer than just reading. Literacy is good, but definitely it would be wrong, and very wrong, to use academic excellence to define a person. Yes, children go to school, they should be encouraged. Parents, do your thing, get the deal done, but let us not put too much emphasis such that the person is behind. And that's why we should never use words. I'm saying never use a word like a failure. You are a failure. Parents may be pushed to that level, calling their own children failures. We don't have failures in life.
Yeah.
We don't have useless people. You know, when we get angry, we are tempted to say that. It is not fair to that child, because that child has much more. And no human being is defined by any other standard other than, first of all, they are human beings.
All right.
Everything else is added advantage.
As we wind up, Jane, this is the transition period, obviously, for all of them, actually. And much of what we've spoken to is for a parent or a guardian who was disappointed by the result of the child that was doing this exam. But question is, what is the role of parents and guardians in this transition period, be it for a child who failed in the sense of it, like the way the Kenyan society defines failing in terms of these examinations, and the one who has even passed, or the person who actually was averagely there, didn't perform well, didn't perform too bad? What is the role of a parent or a guardian in this transition period as they exit towards other things to do in life?
That's a very good question. Yes, each of the parents with a child who met the pass mark or didn't has a very important role to play, because the question should be, what next? Yes, you've got the grades, you passed your material for university, straight on. You have a direct ticket. But then, where do we begin? The next thing should be, what is your passion in terms of career? Parents, guardians, please guide your children, but do not push them to do what probably you missed. The tendency is, I would have wanted to be a health practitioner, like I wanted to be a doctor, by the way, for real. But I didn't hit the mark.
You ended up somewhere.
I'm one of those. But all the same, what are you good at? What do you want to, what is your passion? What career do you want to do? And then we can expose them. Role modeling is always very important. The guardian can expose that child that they have, who has made it, expose them to as many, even to JJ here. What does it take to do journalism, to do whatever it takes to be in this? If that is their passion, they need to be guided. They could even be referred for guidance, career guidance and counseling. It helps quite a lot. Why I'm saying that, JJ, one time I met a child who had got a straight A, excellent performance. Up to the standards we are talking about. But then this child was so confused and actually was depressed, not just anxious. Listen, they are not now sure of what they need to do. They qualify to do medicine, human medicine, they qualify to do law, they can do anything of their choice, and they'll be admitted to do. But then they are lost somewhere in the middle because the options, again, are too many. So we try to narrow them down, and that is the work of the guardian, the work of the parent, to guide that person and possibly expose them to role models, a talk here and there, guidance and counseling in career, and they'll be sorted. Right. But the other one, we have not forgotten, JJ. Yes. I know the pressure of time. Yes. The one who didn't perform also needs to be lifted. What is it you'd like to do? The same question. By the way, it's the same thing. So what is your passion? What would you love to do? So when I missed medicine, I was asked by my parents, so what next? I said, I can go in for teaching, and I did. And then later I discovered, wow, I can even be a good psychologist. And I jumped into it. And look at where we are, JJ. Yeah. Yes.
If you were born where I was born, they would have recommended a local polytechnic there. In 30 seconds, Jane, on that camera, speak to parents and the candidates in 30 seconds.
Yeah, Kenyan parents, together, we are together in this. Relax. Our children will make it. They'll go places. Me too have had such a dilemma, but guide them. Don't leave them alone. We need them. We need them healthy, we need them strong, we need them in sober mind, and we can help them by encouraging, guiding them, and making sure that they get to where their desire is, and particularly their dream career. We can guide them into that. Let's build Kenya. Kenya is our country. Let's help them, let's support them, and we are heading there. And role model them, most of all. Great, well done, parents, and let's keep together. Together we can do more.
Absolutely. Jane Gatia is a counseling psychologist. The conversation really today has been around KCSE, the expected outcome, what the outcome was, and indeed what the future looks like. And thank you, Jane, for your insight. We appreciate your presence always. Time for us now to change gears. Bernard Okumu is up next with sports news.
Favorite team and win big on MeChezobet.com. Casino, Aviator, and other crash games also available at MeChezobet. Sign up today. This message has been approved by BCLB license number 664. Gambling can be addictive. Play responsibly. Terms and conditions apply.
I've never seen carrot in samosa.
Kaka alisema sasa wewe una kitu hata kama moja hivi.
Hata sitasikia mbaya. Ngoja, umekuja kufanya kazi ya kungojea watu hapa.
Wewe hata sijui kwa nini niliwezi time yangu nikitetea mtu kama wewe.
Ninakuwekea ile inaitwa cobra style. Ngochimbie chini hii inaitwa underscore. Hizi vifagio zinatengenezwa na urefu for a reason. Hii imesha abuse sana. Kisungu na hakana pesa. Mama, sika yeye. Wai, mwizi!
Board, it is time for Sports with me, Bernardo. And we begin with the latest news from the CHAN progression as far as hosting it is concerned, where Sports Cabinet Secretary Salim Furia has confirmed that the country is ready to host the Africa Nations Championship CHAN as the stadia are in proper condition ahead of the tournament. The Africa Nations Championship, which will be co-hosted by Kenya, Uganda and Tanzania, will kick off on 1st February. That's next month.
Speaking after the stadium inspection, Sports Cabinet Secretary Salim Mvurya stated that Nyayo Stadium is already done, while Kasarani Stadium is 90% done and will be done by Wednesday next week.
The hosting of CHAN is in good progress in terms of the infrastructure preparation, and therefore I would like to urge all Kenyans. We will be urging them as we near the tournaments themselves. But we want to urge them now to be inspired, from the 1st of February to turn up in large numbers.
The CS also noted that not only the hosting stadiums will be renovated, but his ministry, together with the national government, have a plan to upgrade all stadiums in the country.
Immediately after CHAN date, we will just embark on preparation for AFCON. So as government, we are very happy. And also with the partnership, the inter-ministry, the Ministry of Sports, and also Ministry of Defense, which is very key in the supervision.
After the stadium inspection, the CS, accompanied by Principal Secretary Peter Tum and FKF officials, toured Kenyatta International Convention Center, where the CHAN draw will be conducted on Wednesday. For Sunday Express, I'm Daniel Mwendwa.
And thank you, Dan Munda, for that report. Over to tennis now, where Kenya's Angelo Kutoi missed out on her first tennis singles title at the ITF W35 Women's Tour after going down in 2 straight sets to Joanna Garland of Chinese Taipei today at the Nairobi Club. Kutoi collected 23 points for making it to the final, while her opponent, Garland, won 35 points for winning the title.
Kenya's Angela Okutoi was not at her very best in the final of the ITF W35 against Joanna Garland as she suffered a 2 straight sets loss to her opponent. In a first set completely dominated by Garland, Okutoi was broken early in the set and only managed to overpower her opponent from Chinese Taipei once, losing 6-1. She upped her game in the second set but was again broken early as Garland remained in total control to win the second set 6-4 and take the title. Okutoi was pushed to 3 sets in her semi-final against Polish Zuzana Polikoska, but she managed to win 7-6, 3-6, 6-3 to book a final date against Garland, who also needed to go the full distance against Vicky van der Peer, coming from a set down to win her semi-final 7-6, 4-6, 1-6. Okutoi now collects 23 points for making it to the final, while her opponent Garland takes home 35 points for winning the title.
And over to soccer now, where Stafford Odhiambo scored a 76th minute goal to hand Ulinzi Stars 3 crucial points against Mara Sugar that puts a daylight between them and the relegation zone. Now following the 1-0 win, Ulinzi are now 19 points, 5 points above bottom side Posta Rangers and just a point outside the top 10 and 8 points behind leaders KCB. Bidco United, on the other hand, could not find a way past Morangasil as the two sides played out a barren draw in the other game of the day. The 1 point still leaves Bidco in danger zone, while Morangasil enjoy being in the top 10 on 22 points, 5 points behind leaders KCB. The match between Mathare United and Kariobangi Sharks also ended in a barren draw.
Halitaki chai, linataka baridi ko itulie. Wanatosa wandasta Nyaudo is smiling. Jibas, God bless Ulinzi Stars. Aliyekuwa anasubiriwa kutoa Boniface Musiri hakusubiriwa bure. Ametua leo na amekuja na mazuri ya Pemba. Amekuja na karafuu kutoka Pemba. Amemletea Stafford Odhiambo Starboy. Stafford akasema sio tabu. Twende kibenderani. Wacha watu wapige kinywaji baridi. Ulinzi Stars wanatangulia hapa mbele ya wakati.
Over to athletics, where Ethiopian athletes dominated the 2025 Dubai Marathon as they took all the top 10 positions in the men and women's races, led by Bute Gemechu and Bedatu Hirpa. Now Gemechu won the men's race in 2 hours, 4 minutes and 51 seconds, beating compatriots Berhanu Segu and Shifera Tamru, who were second and third respectively. Kenya's Dennis Kimeto finished in 15th position. Bedatu Hirpa came from behind in the final stages of the women's race to win in 2 hours, 18 minutes and 27 seconds, 5 seconds ahead of Dera Dida, while Tigist Girma finished third in 2 hours, 20 minutes and 47 seconds.
28-year-old can do about it. She won here in 23. She was third here last year, but this year we have a new champion. But Datu Herpa, the 25-year-old, takes the title in Dubai, punches the air.
For me, I'm feeling good because I finished the race. It was the long to be running a marathon, but today I finished. So I'm really happy for today.
Coming through strongly is Segu. He too has also had a fabulous run. He's worked hard to maintain that second place. It's his debut as well. The reputation.
And just before I leave, I have to give you the latest from the FA Cup third round matches, which just been happening all this weekend. And Arsenal losing to 10-man Manchester United after going down 5-3 post-match penalties. After that particular match did end 1-1 in added time as well as regular time. And this particular win means that Manchester United will be swiftly reuniting with their former coach Ruud van Nistelrooy in the fourth round, where they'll be facing Leicester City. Other results, of course, Tamworth losing 3-0 to Tottenham, also in extra time, really pushing the Premier League side all the way. And Crystal Palace registering that slim 1-0 win over Stockport and Ipswich, putting 3 past Bristol Rovers, and Newcastle also registering 3-1 win over Bromley as Southampton beat Swansea 3-0. The fourth round matches, of course, will be played later on next month. That's it from the Sports Desk. I'm Bernardo Kumu. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your viewing and wishing you a lovely week ahead.
And that update from Bernard Okumu just puts a cap on Sunday Express. Thank you very much for joining us. Have yourself a fantastic night and a good week ahead. My name is John Jacob Curia. Lensa Odinga was our sign language interpreter. Goodbye for now. See you around.
Star 570 hash. Option 1 kuna PS5 na ni full package na inakuja na JBL Party Box. Hiyo boom experience pia iko.
Thank you for joining us on Healthy Living. Stay connected to Voice of America at voanews.com. A look at your kidneys and how they impact your health. And an expert discusses chronic kidney disease and how to protect yourself. And Ivorian psychologist Noor Bakayoko shares some insights on bullying and what can be done.
It's important to avoid major events or major health crises.
How do you know if your cough is due to a serious condition? We'll have some answers. Stay well
and strive to make every day a healthy day.
Here we go.
Cheer your favorite team and win big on MeChezobet.com. Casino, Aviator, and other crash games also available at MeChezobet. Sign up today. This message has been approved by BCLB license number 664. Gambling can be addictive. Play responsibly. Terms and conditions apply.
Hello good people, this is Save Life. Save Life tunazidi kubadilisha maisha Kenya nzima, and thank you for your sacrifice. My name is Dr. Joseph Moremi. Tunaweza kusaidia watu wengi zaidi. And how do we do this? Through your partnership. Without your partnership you cannot do this. That's why we are here every week requesting you to partner with us to serve God together through service to humanity. God has been faithful. Tutembea Kenya nzima. Na kuna story pia tujafanya surgery. Nilikuwa nimetembea kule Baringo. Nikapata mama kona tumor. But mama mara ya kwanza nikamwambia mama tuko ready kufanya medical camp, akapotea. Sasa mama ameniambia angetaka kufanya surgery. Tuna hope that God atupea grace this year atafanya surgery, and this is what you are doing. But for now, acha nikupeleke Baringo, sikize huyu mama na muone vile tunaweza msaidia. Tuambie jina lako, utuambie shida ilianzia lini na zile mashida unapitia na hii ugonjwa.
Jina langu naitwa Kopilo kule. Na saliwa kwa hii kitu. Siku ile mimi nakuwa mtoto mpaka nakuwa kubwa, naona tu hiyo kitu nasumbua mimi. Nasumbua mimi nakuanjeka, saa ngine nakuanjeka, kutaka kwenda hospitali pesa hakuna. Nataka kufanya nini? Kila kitu hakuna. Hawezi enda hata kibarua. Hakuna shamba. Mimi sina shamba. Mimi sina shamba kabisa na nini. Nalima watoto wangu na lala njaa siku zote. Bekera amejaa kichwa mpaka nagonjeka, hakuna mtu napeleka mimi hospitali. Hakuna pesa ya hospitali, hakuna kitu kwenda hospitali. Mimi nakaa tu, nagonjeka tu. Hata watoto wangu nakaa, kuna manguo navaa, nakaa. Talala, baba matangare. Hata mimi hakuna, kama mimi hakuna watoto tabata wapi. Mimi naweza enda kibarua. Mimi hakuna kazi, hakuna ng'ombe. Mimi sina ng'ombe. Mimi sina mbuzi. Kama mzee wangu amebariki kitambo. Hakuna mtu basi naangalia mimi. Mimi nakaa tu kuomba hata Mungu. Mimi naomba Mungu terereka vitu yote. Alafu nalisha watoto. Kama hata msaada kupata pale kupata ni Mungu tu. Naambia Mungu aokoe mimi. Hakuna kitu nafanya. Hakuna hii macho yangu hawezi kuona kila kitu. Hakuna naenda tu kama bubu. Saa ingine naenda mpaka naanguka. Hakuna kuona. Ni kuona kama ni macho hakuna taona nini. Nimesita. Hakuna hata kufanya kila kitu. Mimi naomba Mungu fanya maajabu. Fanya maajabu kabisa, labda napata kuona kitu. Hata kupata ya hospitali. Nisikia hospitali ni pesa mingi sana. Na hakuna mtu napeleka. Kama mzee wangu amebariki, tani napeleka mimi. Nakaa hivyo. Hata kwenda tu kukula hii mapromi. Hii miti naitwa promi. Napuna. Ile meiva na tabuna. Ile mbiki na katakata kwa kidogo. Na karanga nakula. Nachamusha tu kwa chumba. Hakuna chumba hata. Chumba yuko wapi? Hakuna. Nakaa tu hivyo nakula hivyo. Ile kitu kuni napata kuni na maji. Lakini kila kitu hakuna. Hakuna hata chakula kwa hii nyumba. Mimi nakaanga tu hivyo. Hata kitu kulalia hakuna. Kupona kana baridi yote na kulanga usiku yote. Sijui tapata nini. Tapata msaada kwa wapi kweli. Nalanga. Hii kuva natoa hii nguo hii kuva. Na usiku napona kana mtoto. Alafu mimi nalala tu hivyo. Hakuna kitu kubanya. Hakuna. Kama hakuna nisita hiyo. Naona hata imari katakuna nini. Kasi. Kiwa mechomeka kabala hii. Hakuna kitu. Maji niishe kwa barabara kubanda vitu. Nisikima lakini. Vitu hakuna kwa mimi na. Mimi hakuna kibarua. Mimi hakuna nini. Shamba. Mimi naona watu tu kuomba watu na kata. Nasema mama enda. Kwenda kuomba wengine mama enda. Abana litemi sita yako. Labanya nini wapi? Ala ina banya nini wapi? Aya ine. Mama mimi nayo. Aya ine. Mimi naomba tu Mungu kuteremsha chakula. Mimi naomba tu Mungu kupokanya kila kitu. Alafu nini? Ninapata msaada.
Umesikia mama akona shida. Stress. Ameniambia anakula hii miti. Unasema hii yenye imekauka?
Imekauka na tabuna hivi.
Yenye imekauka unatafuna?
Na yenye natoa tu kama hii.
Na yenye?
Naona hii.
Nimeona hiyo.
Hiyo.
Na yenye ijanini na yenye ijakauka unachemsha. Na hiyo ingine unachemsha?
Nakatakata hivi kwa banga.
Inaitwaje?
Inaitwa promi.
Promi. Ni uchungu sana. Mama ananiambia hii miti inaitwa promi.
Hii miti inaitwa promi.
Promi hii miti imekauka ndio anakula. Na watoto na hii ingine.
Hiyo hata kutoa hii inatafuna tu.
Natafuna
Nalokota hii. Naona mita nyumbani.
Imekauka ndio anakula nitafuna. Na hii ingine yenye ijakauka ndio anachemsha. Anakatakata anachemsha. Na mama ananiambia shida kubwa pia ni njaa. Ilifika mpaka mahali hiyo ugonjwa akachana velembo pesa mingi akachana hiyo ugonjwa akaweka chini. Ikabaki sana adili na njaa. Mkimsikiza sana nasema mambo ya njaa. Njaa ndio imekuwa ndio shida kwake.